Welcome to the Meltzone Podcast. I'm Tom.
And I'm Stefan. And we are on our way back to the airport from Murph 2019.
Holy shit, and what a Murph it's been.
It's been crazy. So we actually thought that it might be a good idea to use our 3-hour drive back to the airport in Chicago to just talk about what we have seen and what our general how do you say
impressions?
How our impressions were of the event. So it's Monday morning now. Murph ended yesterday at in the afternoon around 4. It's been
people start packing up around noon because the first guys have to fly out. And Sunday was actually okay when it comes to the crowd. Saturday was crazy. Like if you've seen the video on the walk around, that was like the nicest it's been all Saturday.
Yeah.
People were out at the Open RC race. But man.
Yeah.
But yeah, Stefan, how are you doing? How are you holding up?
Well, I'm feeling better now, but since we arrived Friday in the afternoon, it was really hard for me. So we had been up for 24 hours. I'm really bad on sleep deprivation, so we ended up being there something around 10 o'clock at night. But I was.
Let's not do that again next year. Let's just fly in a day earlier.
Yeah, we need to. It would be great to just have one day of relaxing a little bit and getting used to the other time zone. But yeah, otherwise it was crazy. So usually you have been there last year.
Once, first time.
Yeah,
I was just as flashed as I'm this year.
Yeah. So usually Friday is just for people getting their stuff there and just putting everything on the tables. It's not an official day of Murph.
It is actually. So Friday, the evening, it's from 5 p.m. or something. Officially, it does start on the event, but it's you get together, you can see people. Apparently, Joel actually got the majority of his filming done on Friday.
That was probably a good thing.
That was a really smart move of him.
So I helped you out filming some of the interviews on Saturday. And my main task was just standing around of the tripod that nobody trips it over. But it was crazy. So
but you were reluctant to go at first. You were like,
it's
really gonna be stressful. And,
it's gonna be stressful.
You seem to be enjoying yourself too.
I was enjoying myself so much. Yeah, I wasn't really sure at first if it is a good thing for me to go there. Just the amount of stress being there just for a weekend, doing all of the traveling and things like that. But yeah, after the 2 days now, I enjoyed it so much. It was so nice to see what people made there and showed off there. And even more impressive for me was just interacting with the community, meeting people I have just known from the internet.
Yeah, because if you're just on Twitter or YouTube comment sections, you maybe don't even have the names of people. You have nicknames. You don't get a face.
Yeah.
You don't realize how enthusiastic or how much people care about the stuff they're talking about.
Yeah, and the cool thing was that you feel kind of like being a nerd, and I was it's always the thing, talking to other people about the things I usually do. I feel kind of weird because I do kind of things which are not that common under my friends, at least. But being there, everybody is kind of a nerd. Everyone really appreciates what you're doing, and that's just so cool. And
I mean, we've talked about this, or everyone's been talking about this last year, and in Murph in general. It's in the middle of nowhere. You have a 3-hour drive from every major city. Goshen, Indiana is it's a huge event for them. All the hotels are hey, welcome, 3D printing convention guests and all that. It's everyone who is there wants to be there. Except for the few people that are local, but everyone took a trip and took the effort to get here, and they want to be here. It's not like at a trade show where someone makes you go.
Yeah.
So it's a really great just spirit. And it's going to be interesting to see where they take it next year because it's outgrowing itself.
Well, if you guys have been watching Tom's walk around video, which he did on Saturday, you know how crowded it was, he just like plowed through the masses because you were barely able to just walk from desk to desk because everything was crowded.
Yeah, they had 2 halls this year, and hall 1 was crazy. Hall 2 you couldn't even get to. Like you saw in the video, like there were like 3 lanes you could take through, and only one of them was kind of open. It's. I mean, they were talking like the fire department probably wasn't happy about it being so crowded. There apparently was some fire even. Somebody's OpenRC ESC, the speed control, burned up, and you could smell that. So close call, and also ANET had a booth. So I'm surprised those guys were let in. But yeah, jokes aside, it's going to be interesting. So there are talks about whether it's going to have to be earlier or later because the state fairgrounds that we're at. Also have like cattle auctions and all that going on at the same time. So like the 2 buildings Murph had this year, that's like the max they're gonna get. So either move to a different location or do a different time frame or something. But
but we talked to the people in the hotel this morning. So if you would like shift the event a couple of weeks later, this is more becoming the busy time also of that city. So hotel prices will rise, and that is something which is not that positive for the event itself.
Goshen is not an expensive city.
It's not an expensive city, and I was quite happy by the amount of money we paid for the motel. You weren't happy with your room.
No, I'd rather pay $20 more and get something a bit nicer, maybe. I'm not a motel fan in general.
Yeah.
Plus the trains, that's the one thing you don't realize. Like there's a train line going through town, and every train honks while they go through. So like every 30 minutes at night, you just hear that, and it's a couple hundred feet from the hotel.
Yeah, I was sleeping with earplugs. I did totally fine, but not everybody really is happy about sleeping with earplugs.
No, I can't do that. So what did you see? What did we see at the event?
I actually kind of have the feeling that I still wasn't, even though being there for like 2.5 days, I wasn't really able to see everything.
Oh, for sure. Like
there were so
we probably missed more things than we saw.
Yeah, definitely, because you always need to take some time talking to the people at their desks. Everybody's really making interesting stuff right there. And
everyone who's showing off stuff, there's more to it than you see on the surface. For example, Martha, the 3DP Iceland guy, doing his. You walk up to the booth, you're like, okay, he's got 20 satellite images that he printed, or 3D satellite reliefs. What it's called?
Topological maps, height maps.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
he's hand painted them. It's like, oh, cool. That's what you're into. Like, no. He is the only guy who has a good map of Iceland, because apparently that's not a thing, and he goes out and flies his drone and creates photogrammetry maps out of the imagery he gets, and then that map data gets used to search and rescue lost tourists or people who are out hiking and saving their lives. Like, there's this much you see when you actually see the booth, and then there's this whole other story and the background to it when you actually get talking to people, and that's, it makes you realize, like, even if things seem insignificant at first, if you might look at it and brush it off, everyone has more of a story to it.
Yeah, definitely. And I have never been to a maker fair before. I've only been to like TCT shows, and on TCT shows you have companies there showing off their stuff, and alright, they also have interesting things, but they're there for selling their stuff. At Murph, also some companies were there showing off their products, and that's totally fine.
Yeah, of course, sponsors. They make the event happen.
Yeah,
right?
They make the event happen.
Thank you to Crucial 3D for sponsoring my trip to Murph 2019.
But they were in the minority. So, I guess 3/4 of the tables were just occupied by hobbyists.
Okay, you have the companies taking the walls on the outside. They're like encircling all the hobbies, and then there's like 3 rows of table in the center where it's just people bringing printers, people bringing 3D printed Nerf guns. That's a big thing this year apparently. You know, just showing off projects. I mean, we talked about that too, where it's like even at maker fairs, you saw that trend of like 3 years ago, half the maker fair was 3D printers. Then it got a bit smaller. And you see that shift of, people are just using 3D printers for them being I should put my hands on the wheel, I'm sorry. I'm steering with my leg here. People were just using 3D printers for the sake of having a 3D printer, and that's fine. Like, it's quite the rabbit hole to go down, and it's an amazing hobby, but we're seeing more of just people accepting it as yet another tool. Like, it's just like you have a cordless drill, or you have a set of files, or an airbrush gun. The 3D printer is just another means of making things, and we saw a lot of that at Murph this year too. And I think that's fantastic to see, because it just means like we've made it, right?
Yeah.
One of the bigger booths was 3D Gloop, and you said you don't want to get into that, but.
So we were actually discussing yesterday. So I have seen Joel's video about using 3D Gloop, and I was talking to the 3D Gloop guys.
How was he using it? Responsibly, or?
I don't remember.
Was he doing it on his set?
I don't know. Well, maybe let's get back into that later. Gluing 3D printed parts is something which works with epoxies, works with super glues, but you still have a layer of glue in between of your parts, and this is usually the weak point of your parts.
Yeah.
You can glue ABS by dissolving it with acetone and then putting the parts together, and then you get a real physical connection between the plastic.
It's welded, right?
It's welded. But with PLA, that's kind of difficult, because PLA is only dissolved in not so many solvents, let's put it that way. So I also talked to the guys a little bit. I think I really like the product, but we were discussing yesterday what they are actually using to dissolve the PLA.
Yeah, but the thing is, not a lot of stuff actually dissolves PVA cleanly. There's a bunch of stuff that attacks it and gets it brittle and eats it up, but nothing that would dissolve it like acetone dissolves.
So if you go on the Wikipedia page for polylactic acid, and you just scroll through it, and then you find that chloroform is dissolving the material. And I tried to get my hands on chloroform in Germany. Nah, it's not possible.
Also, it's not something that I want to work with, right? It's not healthy. It knocks you out if you breathe too much of it. I guess the other one is THF, if I'm not wrong, or if I'm correct on that, tetrahydrofurane, and that's just as natural. Like there's no like benefit to it. So you actually looked up the 3D Gloop material data safety sheet.
Safety sheet, yeah. And I was surprised to see that they are actually using chloroform for the 3D Gloop too.
Yeah, 20 to 60%.
20 to 60%.
That's not insignificant.
Well, that's not the only thing they're using. They also have some elastomer thing in there to just help with the welding process. I don't really want to rant on the product, but I just really want to say that working with the glue itself, you really need to take some precautions. And in my opinion, you shouldn't use it inside of the house.
Oh, absolutely not.
Do it outside. Stay away from the fumes. Really stay away from the fumes, because they can maybe potentially knock you out. And I wasn't really aware that they are using it.
Also look into the legality of actually owning chloroform or importing chloroform, because I know it's hard to get your hands on it in Germany, and that there's a reason behind it. I mean, you can't just sell that stuff to like consumers.
So I actually have 2 bottles of 3D Gloop with me in my luggage. I'm interested to see if I am able to import it.
Yeah, good thing this podcast goes live after we've made it back to Germany. Ooh, pothole.
As I said, I really don't want to rant on the product.
Sure.
I think it's a really good idea, and I really want to work with it. But for me, it's just a good information that I don't use the product inside of the house because it really can be potentially harmful for me, and it's just a step up from acetone or even a couple of other solvents that are commonly used for things like these. Always use well-ventilated rooms when you're working with solvents and things like these. They are not healthy, and you don't want to have them in the house or breathe them potentially.
Yeah, but some of them are nastier than others, and usually, like you're like, okay, you work with IPA, isopropyl alcohol, or ethanol. People are usually like, that's fine. Acetone is also. I'm also like, okay, it's, you know, if you're a bit careful, like I'm comfortable working with that. Like chloroform, MEK, which is also great for dissolving ABS, for example. Those things are just like, they're like industrial grade solvents. But
enough of that.
If it's a product that works well, I'm sure there's an application for that, and of course the legality and safety things. It's just something that you have to be aware of, like what you're using and what precautions you should take. Same with like SLA resin and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's the same thing. I still think if I'm sometimes watching YouTube videos of people just touching the bare resin and parts and things like these, this stuff is not healthy. Pay attention, use gloves, use well-ventilated areas. We've already been talking about that in a previous podcast, that you feel that you're kind of allergic to the resin.
If you get too much exposure to epoxy resin or other resins, by the way, if the audio just got better, we have like new pavement here.
Yeah, it's so nice.
I feel like I'm reacting more to like resin fumes than I should. So I don't know. It's just something that resins do. Talking of resin, how many resin printers did we actually see?
Well, I've seen the SL1, and a couple of people brought their SL1s with them. They were in the beta units, and the print results are just impressive. Really, really nice machines. The TiVo, no, not the TiVo, the ANET booth, they were showing off a resin printer. I have seen that.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I haven't seen that many more. I could be wrong there. Maybe I forget something. But I don't know. Have you seen any others?
Well, I've seen some here and there, but like that big push that people keep predicting, like resin is there and it's like better and it's more high detail. Yes, that's true, but it's more expensive and it's, well, materials wise. And it's just a pain to use still, even if you... yeah, I saw that too late, sorry. It's still a pain to use, and maybe it's not the best machine to bring along because you have liquid sloshing around, or you have to really clean out your vat if you want to transport it. So, yeah, the SL1 was really like the big one that we saw, and I did talk to Joseph about it. Apparently now they're finally starting to ship. It's like the never-ending story with Crucial, like on-time shipping.
Well,
need
but
to work on that.
Better ship out a product that is thoroughly tested than shipping out products prematurely and then having to deal with customers that are not happy about their machines. And the SL1 is quite an expensive machine compared to like a one-hot duplicator.
Yeah,
so
or
the machine
any
itself
cubic
is like
photons.
$1,600 or $1,600.
$1,299 pre-order and $14 or $15.99 is going to be the regular price for. Hold on, I might be confusing price because there's a kit and there's an assembled one.
Yeah.
So I think that's $12.99 and $13.99 for the kit, and then like $14.99 and $15.99 US for the assembled unit. And then you can also get the set with a CW1 with the cleaning station.
Yeah. And
which I think is absolutely worth it because it's...
The cleaning station is how much?
I think if you buy it as a set, it's another $200 or $300, and if you buy it separately, it's it's $4 or $5.99. So.
And the CW1 is not just the cleaning station, so it has a container where you put IPA in and a magnetic stir bar.
Isopropyl alcohol. Not India Pale Ale.
IPA? Yeah, IPA. Yeah, sorry.
yeah.
The beer is struggling. Anyways, the washing station has the stir bar in there. It washes the resin from your part, but then you take this IP
just
container,
call it
IPA container from the machine, and you can also use it as a curing station. And a curing station does not only mean that you have the UV LEDs in there, it also means that the chamber is heated, and that's really important for.
Is it actually? I thought no.
I think it's actively heated.
It's actively heated. I thought it had like just a few degrees, that because there's like components in there that generate heat, it would just rise. But okay.
So depending on the resin you're using, it's definitely a good thing to cure your parts at elevated temperatures. If you, for example, take a look at the curing station that Formlabs is selling, a couple of the resins are actually cured at 80 degrees Celsius.
Oh wow! Okay.
Because that just helps with the polymerization.
So and so just to make that clear, like the parts you get out of your printer, they might be solid. Like otherwise, you wouldn't be able to pull them up. But they might be solid, but they're still not fully cured. Like there's still more curing to be done, so that they're not tacky or develop their full strength, basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, on the price side, I mean, the SL1 is pricey, but it also seems to be doing a few things that, one Audi 7 doesn't do, like the tilting VAT, rocking VAT. Also has like an auto level feature for the platform, which is not that big of a thing to implement, but yeah, if it's like a good experience in combination with the CW1, I think it could be a nice slot between like Formlabs and the super low end machines.
Yeah, exactly. What else? So we had been talking about the Prusa machine now, so company things. What also impressed me to see were a couple of like fully 3D printed 3D printers.
Oh yeah, there was some here last year.
There was one guy who just, I think, took the Mark III design and 3D printed all of the aluminum extrusions and everything, and made his 3D printed 3D printer. But there was one guy in the other building which was even more impressive. He 3D printed all of the linear rails. He 3D printed all of the lead screws. He 3D printed the bearings themselves. He 3D printed even the belts that he was using. And this machine was so impressive to see. And the print results looked really, really decent. He said he had some issues with the belt stretching a little bit because it is...
Hold on, we gotta not this exit.
No, not this exit.
Keep talking.
Yeah, keep talking. He used TPU for the belt, so it's stretching a little bit. So he has kind of some problems with the resonances and a couple of other things which are connected to that. But still, that was so nice to see. It is not the most practical application, to be honest, because the quality of the prints are not as good, but it just shows what you could potentially do with 3D printing.
Yeah, I mean, for a few things it does make sense to print them, like for belts, like you mentioned, because there's no fibers in there that actually get the belt rigid, but it's a nice proof of concept, right?
It's a nice proof of concept. And I talked to him a little bit, and he told me that I think he is, in his normal job designing some, special machinery, and he then, used his knowledge there to create mechanisms directly 3D printable mechanisms. Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm cruise control. Hyundai cruise control set. Okay, working.
50?
50, it's 50 speed limit.
He had his linear rails, so the sleds on the linear rails. Carriages that he 3D prints, and they worked very well. The lead screws themselves and different designs. He had these folding baskets that he designed and iterated on, and things like these. It was totally impressive to see, and this is just one of the things which is so nice about Murph, and people are not just showing off their printers, they are showing off their projects that they are doing with the machine. As you have just been telling in the beginning, they use now the machines as a tool to create stuff which is not possible with conventional manufacturing.
Yeah. Open on sea race. Did he actually catch that?
I caught it. I was there for like 2 times for like 10-15 minutes. It was really cold. To be honest.
Yeah, it was snowing.
So I've seen a couple of the races, but I unfortunately missed the Destruction Derby. I did not know that there was a Destruction Derby in the end, and I don't know.
It's the second event.
It would have made me really sad if I would have built an open RC not knowing that there's going to be a Destruction Derby.
You don't have to enter in that.
Okay.
Right, that's voluntary.
Okay.
Unless somebody runs into during a race and you just get destroyed. But yeah.
How many contests were actually there? Is it just? I think they were doing 3 laps each for the elimination process.
Yeah. So I actually missed the race too because I was filming like the walk around, as you mentioned. But we talked to Joel and Sean entered on it, right? Sean almost won. Or was it?
Sean almost won?
Somebody almost won.
Yeah.
We talked. Sorry.
Bad wait, it was Alex from Protopasta.
Alex?
I think he did a pretty good job, and also right. Joel. Yeah. Anyways,
it was like 24 contenders for for the trophy for the first place. So it's always a race between 2, and whoever loses gets eliminated. And it's like a bracket system. So yeah. I don't know if it's 3 laps, but makes sense. And it's out in the cats and dogs parlor. So it's basically a roof with a concrete base and no walls. So it's kind of drafty, it's kind of cold, but they had quite the crowd.
It was really interesting to see because they had a couple of issues with the cars just being having too much power and the floor was too slippery.
Yeah.
So people who were really thinking about how can I get the most traction out of the tires with my open RC car, they were the ones who just performed way better. So if you guys thinking about joining the open RC race next year, tires.
Yeah, because it's on a slick concrete pad.
Yeah.
And last year, I think that's how the Destruction Derby came along, is because they had like the cones filled with sand and people kept running them over, so there was sand all over that slick concrete pad and there was no grip. So like the only thing left to do was to run into each other because you had no control over your cars. And apparently there was a bit of that this year too, where it was at least some dust or debris on the actual concrete pad, and it's a difficult surface to drive on, right? It's not like you have an off-road race, you drive on loam or on dirt, that's grippy. You have an indoors race on carpet, that's grippy too. But concrete is just like, you start sliding it, it's all over.
Mm.
So tire materials. There were some rules on actually using 3D printed parts only. Apparently people, well, I'm not blaming anyone if they want to use better tires, but the people, or the guy who won was actually using fully 3D printed parts for the tires as well. So
if you've ever been working with different types of like flexible filaments, some of them come out really slippery, and other ones really feel like rubber, this grippy rubber thing.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, if you want to 3D print it, if you want to have that one, especially 1.75, you want to push it through a thin hole, through an extruder, through a hot, and you want it to be slick because any friction there, especially with the flexible, right? Yeah. It's just going to make your life a lot harder. So yeah, there are a few materials that work or would work well for that. I think something like the Rec Rubber, which is it's almost like a tire compound. I think it's made for that.
Just put some PVA glue on your tires before the start.
Yeah, or what is it? The contact cement, apparently. That also works well as like a drag race tire coat.
Or, just something which is not that slippery. Yeah, it was really interesting to see, and there was a huge crowd gathered there. So people were really, really enjoying it. During that time, it calmed down a little bit. You really used the time to do your walk around.
Yeah. I tried to do it as a live stream first with just the phone, and there was supposed to be a media and a television Wi-Fi, even. But, it's all going through the same connection, and they had some trouble with the Wi-Fi, and there's not enough access points, and there's too many people. So if you were in the stream, thank you, but it just, live streaming just does not work unless you have like a static setup and they're just happy if it cuts out every now and then.
But do you actually know how many people were attending Murph this year?
Yeah, so too many. But I'm happy that so many people came. So they sold 1,800 tickets, or badges basically. That's how many they had. And that was 2 months before the event started. Like they were already sold out on that front. So 1,800 people, and I think if you have a ticket, you show up, pretty much. 1,800 people registered, and then of course, you know, it's a free event. It's sponsored by the companies attending. So you could still walk in without a badge, and you know, no big deal. And I hear they didn't keep count, but if I'd had to guess, and again we guesstimated with Joel too, we'd say like 3,500 people.
Okay.
Probably were there. So quite the crowd. Quite the crowd.
Yeah. So yeah, Saturday was the busy day. Sunday morning, I guess some were still kind of hungover. So
yeah,
it was really relaxed Sunday morning, and I think you also took the opportunity to film a couple of more interviews.
Sunday morning was fantastic.
Unfortunately, well, people were already packing up their stuff Sunday at noon, and I have heard a couple of voices from other people who were, well, just there for Sunday, that they were a little bit disappointed that it wasn't like a real full day.
Yeah, but it was the same last year. It was the exact same thing. Like people started packing up early, and people were disappointed that they did. Maybe they should like officially kind of shorten the event a bit, or you know, have Fridays full day. Like I'd be happy if it were a full week. I mean, I'm happy about any you know, more time I get to spend at the events, but you know, it just wears people down, and even the 2.5 days that Murph was is probably enough on people already.
I'm actually really happy that I still have a voice. It might be a little bit deeper than usually, but yeah, it's still there, and I've been talking like constantly to people. Just you couldn't walk for like 5 or 10 meters and not another one from the community came and hey,
you're a celebrity, right?
Yeah. So it was the first time that I have been on one of these events, and you just get in there and so many people just recognize you, and this was something I really enjoyed, and I don't know if that's weird or I don't know, but it just shows that it makes my time worthwhile. I put into everything, because I spent for the last 2 years all of my weekends, all of my holiday, all of my nights after work in just creating content for YouTube, and it has been wearing me down over the last couple of months really seriously. So coming to such an event, just interacting with so many people, just hearing so many people that they enjoy what you're doing, that's just like so great. That's really so great. I really had euphoria when I was leaving the building, because I was feeling so happy.
Yeah, it feels great that, you know, again, we have a 3D printing in general has such a great community. But for us, we work in front of a screen, we put ourselves in front of a camera alone typically, and the feedback we get is like, hey, this video gets 1,000 likes. It's like, yeah, that's nice, but it's just a number on another screen, right? It's nothing tangible. And you know, seeing that you are making a difference, seeing that, you know, a bunch of people approached me, and you too, like, hey, thanks for putting this out there, you really helped me along, you really helped me get started. That's worth more than, you know, 1,000 likes on anything.
Well, and even for me it was nice to finally meet the people I also have been already interacting online with, Joel, and I haven't met you like until 3 days ago in person. We met up for the trip, the first time in person ever. Yeah. So it's just nice being there, nice talking to the people you just interacted already before on the internet. Networking, it's great. It's really great, and this is, I think, also something which all of the other attendees really enjoyed. That this is a show where you are not only going there to see what other people are doing, but you can interact with people from the community, and also, the YouTubers and influencers,
the famous people. It's like key opinion leaders, the KOL, KOLs. It's it's just, why elevate yourself, right? It's
everyone was the same there, and I did not really have any weird interactions there because everybody.
We set out rules for that, and it worked perfectly. We're still perfectly healthy. I'm feeling great. Well, except for the lack of sleep, but
I had a headache this morning, but that's all right again. But
we'll blame that on the weather.
Yeah, just blame that on the weather. No, I'm feeling okay. I was really exhausted Saturday and Sunday morning, and I did not know what was happening to me. But I guess that was just sleep deprivation and just a little bit of stress. Even though I enjoyed it, it was positive stress. But yeah, I feel fine. I really enjoyed it. It was great. So thank you very much for convincing me that it's worthwhile joining the event. And I'm happy. I'm really looking forward for next year. I'm really looking forward next year.
You're gonna book your tickets already?
We don't yet know when it's gonna be.
Yeah, just book like a month, right? you can take a road trip around the area.
Yeah, maybe. This will definitely be an event and an experience for myself. I will be telling to many of my friends for such a long time, because as I said, I was feeling so happy when I was there. It was just great. I enjoyed it so much.
Are you gonna publish a video on the event, or
vlog? I walked around with my camera and I have been filming a couple of projects. Definitely not all of the projects that were interesting for myself, but I had limited time. I just filmed a little bit, and I'm thinking about just posting a small video about some of the things I have seen there, which I really found impressing. Maybe with some thoughts from my side, how I enjoyed it, just to maybe motivate even more people of joining the event next year. And they hopefully gonna make it work and get a bigger
venue,
a bigger venue, like building there.
It would be nice if they figure that out first.
I'm just a little bit I don't know how big it can get and still have the same spirit.
Right. But then again, like events like Sweden 3D Meetup and the UK 3D Meetup are popping up, and they're very much in the same spirit. And they're like super small. Like Sweden 3D Printing Meetup is, oh god, the roads here.
Road works.
At least they're renovating the roads. That's nice. But yeah, they're small events. They have the same spirit. And they have. I mean, I've only been to Murph once last year and then this year. But I guess that's also like the way that Murph felt the first few times it happened, right?
Yeah.
All right. What else do we see? All right. We know it's a great event. We know it's going to be larger this coming year. There's no way around that.
Yeah.
What else do we see? Belt printers. Really nice open source White Knight belt printer.
There were actually, there were 2 White Knight printers there.
Yeah.
Was there another belt printer?
Bill Steele had his printer belt, I believe. He has one. I believe it's a printer belt. Yeah.
It was really interesting to see like the continuous printing of. They printed something like maker coins there.
Yeah.
And you can just turn the machine on and it will constantly produce new parts there.
Exactly.
Which is really a nice concept.
Don't need to clear off the bed.
Yeah.
Those are nice. Yeah, they were really nice open source machines. Non-commercial yet. might be a kit.
Something what I really found very interesting. So at my normal professional work, we work with Ultimakers, and the thing with the Ultimakers, with the new ones, which I really like, is the exchangeable print cores, because that just makes changing nozzles so easy. You just pop out an old one.
That's you. Blowing my face. I was wondering about that.
You can just turn it
Let's
off.
open up a few more of these.
Yeah, print cores. Print cores are really nice because you can just take out one nozzle and get a new nozzle. That helps you when you're changing
the entire
materials.
hot ends, technically.
Yeah. But such a system, well, there aren't really a lot of other machines who also use like exchangeable print cores, and there was one like startup company there, two guys were there, which had been really nice. They showed off one of their enclosed printers that also uses exchangeable print cores, and the print cores is like the hot end, so the whole hot end, and then the cold side, the how do you say,
heatsink?
The heatsink, which you can just plop out and get a new one in. There are like pogo pins in the back, which are used for the connection of the electricity to the to the heating element and to the thermistor.
Fan maybe.
Yeah, it's not as sophisticated as with the print cores of the Ultimaker, so you don't have this ID system, so the printer does not exactly know which print core is in there. But supposedly these guys told me that there is some kind of a patent on that, not from Ultimaker, from another company. I don't know.
Well, in that case, it would be interesting to see how Ultimaker actually get around that patent.
Yeah. So I don't know what that patent actually says, but they said that this is a kind of an issue. But still, I would really like to have something like that on one of my machines, because it sometimes would be just so handy if you just say, okay, I want to print a big part, and I don't really want to, heat up the hot end, get out the nozzle.
You just don't have enough printers. You just need to have more printers.
Well,
so
I have plenty of printers, but I have some printers I just prefer to work with. Let's put it this way.
Right.
Because I know the settings and everything, so it would be so nice to have this system on maybe like a Steer 10 or a Prusa, or I don't know. It would be great, and I hope that maybe. Well, they will be releasing their machine open source. Maybe there are similar things already available.
The roads are great here.
The roads are great. They're great again now. I don't know if something like that is already available, but if it's not available, please do it for me. I would like it so much.
Yeah, with a system like that, of course, you profit even more if it's not just one single machine with one set of print cores or whatever. I think that's kind of what we're seeing with the BCN Sigma system, where they have their hot ends, which are now made by E3D and are somewhat easily replaceable. It's 2 screws and a connector. It's still a bit of a pain, but they have like their own hot end ecosystem, so you can only use their hot ends, and you can only use their hot ends on their printers. So there's not really much of a selection happening there. There's not really much of an what do you call it? Like an upgrade market out there. If it's, for example, compatible to E3D V6 stuff, like you're gonna get everything. You're gonna get the nozzles, the heat breaks, the heat sinks, like from everyone in all different sorts of materials, configurations, all of that. And for example, with the Mosquito hot end, I finally get a chance to talk to the guys in person, unless you actually miss them. They're doing very much the same thing. So they have, their hot end is mechanically pretty impressive, but they're still, like size-wise, it still fits into, what a V6 would be, or what a Creality hot end would be. The nozzles are the same M6 geometry as the V6 nozzles. So they have a new product, but it's not really a new, like, separate niche. It's like it just is a natural extension of what's already out there. So, and the same with like print cores. I don't think it makes sense, or the replaceable hot ends. I don't think it makes sense to just have that for one machine. It really needs to be something that is a standard, that is like well standardized, and that other companies can also pick up, because it's a great system, right? Especially when it comes to different nozzle sizes. Yeah, swapping a nozzle on a V6 or with the threads. It's like, it's not that hard, but plopping a hot end in and out is just faster and easier.
Yeah. So, was also really something really nice to see. What else?
3D printed speakers.
3D printed speakers.
Yeah. I was so happy to see two booths, 3 booths?
Yeah,
two booths, that were actually showing off 3D printed speakers. I talked to, I forgot his name and his company, but you're going to see it in the video. I've already talked to a guy last year who was showing off some really nicely made speakers, and they're going to go into like the high-end market. He was here again this year, and apparently his design is much closer to a product that's actually going to go out there. And they sounded really nice. And I talked to him like, hey, how well did I do with my speaker kit? And I was like, it's educational.
It's all right.
It's
educational.
No, here's the thing. Like, it does what it's intended to do, exactly. Right? It's not intended to be like the best speaker ever. Like, I'm using like $1 drivers. Like those sound okay-ish.
But what's actually the intention behind their 3D printed speakers? Does it add additional value, or is it just like you can create shapes that weren't possible or weren't easy to make before?
So the speakers he's showing off is a closed enclosure. I'm lacking the proper English speaker, the cabinet, the proper terms for all this stuff. So it's a closed cabinet. It has separate cavity for the tweeters. So it's like not a it's not a ported or a passive membrane or particularly intricately designed case, but it looks really cool. The baffle geometry on the front is apparently pretty fine-tuned. And it just lets him do different looks for the speakers, right? Not everything has to be just the plain box. And I mean, he uses a lot of material. He uses protopasta carbon, I think, for the most part. And it's really rigid and it sounds good. And for him, it's just a means to produce these things, right? He has his CAD design, can print them off, and there you go. That's the larger ones. Those are going to go on sale. And then he has also like a smaller one. It's like, big mango size, I guess, or 2 mangoes. And he wants to provide that like as a kit to experiment with, put different drivers in, and play with all those things. So yeah, a bit of both. Though, admittedly, speaker design might be even more nerdy than talking about 3D printers and nerding out about those. Yeah, there was one more speaker guy who actually didn't get to talk to. Time ran out. He had like a vertical speaker and then the cone on top that spreads the sound. Don't know what he was about, but those looked really nice too.
Yeah. What also really impressed me quite a bit, that there were really a lot of young kids there who were using or having 3D printing as their hobby. You actually talked to one of the young guys who created 3D printer out of like CD drives and stuff like that.
Again, another one of those folks that I missed last year. Because the event is just too short, man. I'm telling you, we need another day. I need another day. Whatever. So he had 3 machines. One that was like a printer bot. What's the one that has like the Z-axis rod sticking up? School when flashing. Let me slow down here. Printer bot. One of the earlier printer bots. He designed one of them from scratch. That was nice. He also designed what he said it was 40 or 50 bucks that he spent on it out of DVD drives, where he's using the laser mechanism that's actually moving the laser head back and forth for X, Y, and Z. So that's pretty nice to see. And he's using all standard electronics. Apparently, it's the same 4-pin stepper motors. I think like he's probably got the cheapest and the smallest build volume printer at the event, and I would agree with him there. And he could print like 1.5 or 2 by 2 inches, maybe 5 centimeters. That was nice. He also had a printer that is super long.
Yeah, it is, I think, a modified Tronxy,
Yes.
Tron XY X1. Or
Is it Tronxy or is it Trong XY?
Tron XY1? Something like that. I call it Tronxy X1.
I think most people pronounce it Tronxy. Yeah, but then we get into that entire pronunciation thing. But
So the Tronxy usually has a build volume of 150 by 150 by 150 millimeters.
Right.
And he just extended the axis, especially the x-axis, I think.
Is it X or... It depends on which way you look at the printer, right? But he had a 50 centimeter bed on there.
Yeah.
And it's just riding on long linear rails. The table itself is kind of bracing it. So that's really nice. He just has like a glass sheet in there. It's not heated. It looks pretty wild. 2 aluminum profiles on the edges and then just a 3mm glass sheet in between. And he was printing long stuff on it.
Yeah.
Let me see, where are we going? 94 West.
We need to merge on the interstate.
Yeah. After the merge. So that's his prints look actually really good. I mean that they were warping a bit. Maybe we should get him some Magic Glue or 3D Glue or something like that. But yeah, it's really simple idea, really simple way to print large parts, right?
Yeah. What else?
I need to merge.
Yeah, we need to you need to merge. I need to talk.
It's it really is hard recalling all the things that I saw there because it just became a blur.
Yeah.
As with every event, I keep notes on my phone, and first I walk through and talk to people and I make notes. Okay, this I need to film, this I need to film, and this I need to film. Then all Sunday was just like, let's talk to that guy. Crazy.
So if you guys ever have the chance to also come to Goshen, Indiana,
oh yeah, you
do it.
Main reason, you get to shake our hands. But no, you don't. You get a fist bump.
Or a elbow.
Or the elbow thing, yeah. That actually worked out really well this year.
People seem to be accepting it.
Yeah. So some were a bit confused that we're going for the handshake. I was like, fist bump. But yeah, good stuff. What else? Simi CNC brought out their Part Daddy again. I thought that machine was like permanently gone, but...
How's it called? Part Daddy?
It's called the Part Daddy, yeah.
Part Daddy. Yeah, so the Part Daddy is a huge print volume Delta printer.
Yeah, it barely fits into the hall that the event was in. So it's almost touching the roof. It was printing. I thought last year they had like permanently stored it away, but nope. Big printers. Yeah, there was this other Delta printer who, again, I didn't get enough time to talk with him. Who has a mechanism to clamp the bed onto the belts and then move the bed itself and then clamp it back onto the frame, so you could change like the height of the bed inside the printer.
Yeah.
It's like a 2 meter tall contraption.
The mechanism was really nice. I actually took a couple of videos how the mechanism works, and if I ever, am able to finish my walk around video of the event, you guys might be able to see it. This was just nice, like taking regular printers and putting some stuff in there which just makes it work in kind of a different way and adjusting it to their own needs. So I think he said that he just uses it to reduce the print volume, and it's like easier to access if the print bed is on the height where he's usually standing in.
Right.
Yeah. Paul Poxtelis was there and showing off his 5 print head printer that he built out of a modified liquid. Well, he's a biochemist, and he got his hands on one of the machines that is used to with pipettes draw liquids out of
droppers.
vials and put them somewhere else, and he modified that machine he's using it to print out not polymers, like the molecules in different colors and things. So he has 5 individual print heads, which are in like a revolver assembly. So he turns the whole print head that just one of the extruders is active at a time. And it's really interesting, and it's a really, really interesting system that he uses there.
Nice.
That was also really interesting.
Where was he at?
He was just at the end of the building.
First one?
Where the ANET booth was.
Okay, all the way to the right.
All the way to the right.
Right.
Depending on where you're looking from.
Yeah, well, you walk in the front, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. So just so many things, and if you guys were there and we didn't talk about your thing just right now, sorry, but it's just it was so overwhelming.
Yeah,
I really appreciated everything. So, nice. I have so many maker coins and stickers and things like right now. I really have to put on my wall in my office. I think I just take a big piece of wood and put everything on there.
Yeah, I've got one of those IKEA magnet boards. So that whenever I have to move it, I don't have to like rip the stickers off and put them somewhere else. I can just put them on there.
So that's gonna get on there.
Maker coins. I didn't get to bring any maker coins because my logo is not printable. Like we could print it, but it doesn't look right. But you made maker coins the last minute, right?
I made maker coins the last minute. I didn't give all of them away, unfortunately. I feel kind of sad. Well, but
you didn't give me one.
You can have one. I have plenty
all
left.
Right. Thank you.
But I always, so if I was getting maker coins, I always gave a couple of them back, and people seem to like it. Just next time approach me and ask for one, even though you don't have one on your own.
Yeah, it's not a exchange thing.
No. It's nice if you exchange stuff, because you're getting something from them and you're giving something back, but it's not mandatory. Yeah, so we are now finally at the Lake Michigan. So it's just like I guess 1 hour left until we are in Chicago.
Right.
What are we going to do now? So we still have a couple of hours left until our flight departs. Since the weather is like kind of nice outside.
It is way better than last year.
Yeah. It is still pretty cold outside, but at least the sun is shining.
Yeah, 45 Fahrenheit.
So we're gonna head into the center of the city, and maybe we have like an hour or 1.5 hours left to just grab some lunch and take a look at the shiny nod. I don't know how it's called.
It has a name.
Yeah. It has a name.
The thing.
The thing, which was it actually put there for a world exhibition?
I believe so. Yeah.
So that I am able to see at least a bit of the city, and
people
are not really asking me. You've been in the US. What have you actually seen? Yeah, I have been in pretty nice Goshen, Indiana, but I haven't seen any of Chicago so far. So yeah, and then it's 12. Oh no, it should be only 11 hours back in that direction.
It's all right. Yeah, we have tailwinds apparently.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to the flight, but hey, the things you do to get here, in the end, it is very much worth it.
Yeah. It's an overnight flight, so I hope that I can grab a couple of hours of sleep. I actually bought some sleep helping pills, which might help out there.
Yeah, you're gonna knock yourself out.
I'm gonna knock myself out. Well, just having like 2, 3, 4 hours of sleep is better than like being totally tired when we arrive in Munich, because I still need to ride back for 2 hours to where I'm living.
Right.
Yeah, it was a nice trip. I enjoyed it so much. I definitely want to come back next year.
To think that I had to even convince you to go is like...
well, if it wouldn't have been for you, I would not have gone there on my own, because...
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you so much. No,
well, thanks for coming.
I'm kind of a shy person, and this is the reason.
We all are.
We all are, but the cool thing is that everyone is shy and weird, and we are weird and shy, and it's totally fine. No, I would not have gone there on my own if it would not have been for you. So yeah, thanks for that. Next year, even though if you might kick me out after you have seen the footage that I have taken with your camera, I might come back.
No, man, but thanks for coming along. It's been fun. I mean, doing these drives alone, it's just...
it's more entertaining. It's really more entertaining.
All right, and I think that pretty much wraps it up for this one. I'm hoping the audio is okay. I'm probably going to edit this one on the plane and try to fix whatever, road noise we have in here. Let us know what your favorite part from Murph was, if you saw videos on it or if you've actually been there. Let us know below, and if we're back next year, we're going to keep our eyes out for those things. And yeah, thank you for listening, watching, shaking, fist bumping us at Murph. Yeah. See you next year there. And I hope you guys are going to be around then for the next podcast episode in 2 weeks. We'll see. 2 weeks probably, yeah. All right. Have a good one. Bye. Bye. $1 drink. I'm ready. Are you? I'm ready. How much is it? Half a gallon of Dr. Pepper? Half a kilo of sugar? God. I'm as ready as I'll ever be.